The court with the Honorable Judge
Ivers.
Presiding is now in session. Please be seated and come to order. Judge
Ivers.
Presiding is now in session. Please be seated and come to order.
Okay, before we get started, I'm required to cover some introductory matters, some preliminary matters before we get going. Is the plaintiff prepared for trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is the defense ready for trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I see there's a video recording going on. If there's any video or audio recording, I'm supposed to ask both sides. Have you come to an agreement on that prior to trial today? And do you agree that it's okay to videotape or audio tape the proceeding?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Again, I'm supposed to remind everybody if there's people in the courtroom that are associated with other schools or other teams, you're not supposed to be in here and watching the proceedings. So at this time, if there are people from schools or connected with schools that aren't involved in this trial, if they could please leave the room at this time. And I want to remind everybody here, the spectators in particular, about trying to remain respectful. If you have a cell phone, please turn it off. Make sure you have no devices that are making noise, that not only to respect the rules and the decorum of the courtroom, but to make sure things keep quiet for the young people who are doing their trial here today. I also want to remind everybody that witnesses can only testify to the information in the fact situation in their witness statements and what can reasonably be inferred from the information. You're subject to the time limits. I know you both have tried cases already in your practice, you're familiar with those, so you're going to be held strictly to the time limits that are there, held to the exhibits that are in the materials. And also there's a reference to a code of ethical conduct. All I know is you folks are supposed to talk to about that and you're familiar with the code of ethical conduct, and any complaints or disciplinary issues to be raised, they'll be raised at the conclusion of the trial, and we can talk about those at that time. So that being said, could I please get the teams to stand up and identify themselves and provide each of the judges with a roster of your team letters and your names and the individuals on your team.
Good morning. My name is Catherine King. I'll be with presenting for the plaintiff side today. I'll be directing Tobin O'Reilly and cross-examining Jordan Reddick, and I will be delivering the closing argument today.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Nicole Henson. I will be representing the plaintiff today. I will be directing Casey Perez, crossing Shannon Dempsey, and providing the opening statement today.
Hi, my name is Haven Henry. I am a representative for the plaintiff. I will be directing Bevan Register and crossing Chris Durant.
Your Honor, my name is Michaela Mullis. I will be portraying witness Tobin O'Reilly today. Thank you.
Your Honor, my name is Eleanor Rochester. I'll be portraying witness Bevan Register.
Your Honor, I'm Mason Albury, and I'll be portraying Casey Perez today. Thank you.
And the plaintiff's case, have you provided, I have a list of your team members. Has this been provided to the other judges in the jury box? Do you both have copies of that? Okay. Can the defense, can you please stand and introduce yourselves and your team members?
Your Honor, my name is Valeria Jacome. I will be doing opening statement as well as closing argument and witness for Jordan Reddick.
Your Honor, my name is Adrian Squishin. I'll be conducting the cross-examination of Bevan Register. I'll be directing Shannon Dempsey, and I'll be witness Chris Durant.
Your Honor, my name is Dakota Easby, and I'll be direct examining witness Jordan Reddick.
My name is Kevin Morales, and I'll be the witness, Shannon Dempsey.
Your Honor, my name is Diana Jacome, and I will be directing Chris Durant.
My name is Michelle Bowman, and I'm going to be crossing Ms. Perez and crossing Tobin O'Reilly.
And do you have a team list with your names and your team letters on it?
Do you need it?
If you have one, if we can distribute it to the judges. If you don't have one, then just let me know that too. And is this the only copy you have?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll just hang on to this during the trial then, and return it at the end of the trial. Is that okay?
Yes.
You guys can be seated. And before we get started, are there any other preliminary matters from either team?
Yes, Your Honor. Maybe Ms. Bailey, may our attorneys and witnesses Ms. Bailey, when we're doing cross-examination, direct closing arguments and opening arguments?
Yeah, for both sides during your opening statements, closing arguments, and your examinations of the witnesses. Feel free to move about the well without asking my permission. You can move around.
And can the bailiff be sitting in the jury box so they could keep time?
I'm okay with that if the defense has no objection to the bailiff sitting in the jury box.
No objection.
Any other matters? Does the defense have any additional matters?
No, Your Honor. That's it.
Then can the plaintiff go ahead and proceed with your opening statement?
Your Honor, members of the jury, Mia Perez was a young girl. She had everything going for her. She was good at soccer, she was good at academics. She was so promising. December 2nd, Mia woke up that Saturday to do what she did many Saturdays, play soccer. Mia went to the game, and as the game started, things were going fine. However, Mia fell and hit her head. Not a problem. Her coaches would pull her out of the game and keep her out. They didn't. Mia was soon back in the game playing again. However, she hit her head yet again, another time. This would be the life changer. Mia was taken to the hospital and diagnosed with a concussion. Months later, she began to have sensitivity to light, felt constantly hazy and tired. This injury took everything from her, sports and academics. She can no longer go to school. She can no longer play soccer. Today you will hear from Mia's mother. She will tell you about the change that they've experienced and the effect that this injury has had on their lives since. Tobin O'Reilly, an experienced coach, will tell you about the responsibilities a coach has to their players. Dr. Register today will tell you that Mia is suffering from post-concussive syndrome. The defense may try to tell you that her symptoms are just side effects of a busy teenage lifestyle. This isn't true. Today, you'll also see that Director Jordan Reddick of the Rubicon Soccer Club, the club that Mia was part of, had in his possession a form that Mia's mother filled out stating that she had had a prior concussion. He never viewed it. Today, as you consider this case, consider the responsibility a coach has to their players, that an adult has to a child. Today, at the end of this case, at the conclusion of this case, we will ask you to find in favor of the plaintiff. Thank you.
Defense, are you ready to proceed with your opening statement?
Yes. May I please the court? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is Alera Hagome, and it is my honor to do the opening statement for the defendant, Jordan Reddick, the Rubicon Soccer Club, and Shannon Dempsey. The evidence that we will prove is undisputed and should be considered throughout this trial. It is undisputed that soccer is a sport in which bodies collide. Injuries and accidents will happen in any ungiven moment, and the players are aware of what happens. Mia, like every other player, knew the risk once she stepped on the field. It is also undisputed that Mia made at least 2 absolutely wrong mistakes that led to her injuries. First, Mia ignored Dr. Mueller's instruction that she was to return for a follow-up visit after she received medical treatment for her concussion. Mia had enough knowledge and understanding that she needed to follow up with the doctor. Instead, she ignored. What might have Dr. Mueller diagnosed if Mia had returned? Mia's second wrong choice occurred after she hit her head the second time, after she knew that things were not right. She knew that she should have let her mother know and Coach Dempsey know what was going on wrong. But instead she lied and she pleaded with her friend Chris Durant not to tell her mother or others what she was experiencing. Please keep this undisputed evidence in your mind as you listen to the testimonies during this trial. Sincerely, my clients feel very sorry for what happened to Mia. She will not be able to reach her goal of becoming a famous soccer star. However, my clients are not liable for what happened to Mia. The evidence in this trial will show that my clients met the responsibility that the law imposes them in every aspect. Unfortunately, The evidence will show that individuals choose to blame others for their mistakes instead of accepting the responsibility. Each plaintiff was negotiated into its responsibility to admit their own responsible actions, not letting the club know, and not letting Shannon Dempsey know. And Mia did not even let her mom know. In this trial, you will hear from 6 different witnesses. The plaintiff will call 3 witnesses. The defendant will call 3 witnesses to prove its case. Jordan Reddick, the soccer coach Shannon Dempsey, and her dearly friend Chris Durant. Jordan Reddick will tell you that the club, as well as his priorities, is health injury prevention. Shannon Dempsey will tell you that Mia lied to her. She did not tell her how she was feeling, and Mia begged her to let her back into the game. Knowing how Mia was feeling, she went back into the game. Chris Durant will tell you that he asked Mia if she had told her mom how she was feeling to make sure she was okay. But what did Mia respond? Are you kidding? If I did, they wouldn't let me play in the showcase. Now, is money really more important for Mia than her own health? After all this evidence is completed, I return and ask you to return a verdict in favor of my clients. Thank you.
Is the plaintiff prepared to call your first witness?
Yes, we are. The plaintiff's call Casey Perez.
Ms. Perez, please come forward and take the stand here.
Please raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you will give do you promise that the testimony you will give will faithfully and truthfully follow the facts and the rules of the mock trial competition?
I do.
Please be seated and state your name and spell your last name.
Casey Perez, P-E-R-E-Z.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. Here. Ms. Perez, what is your relationship to the victim here?
I'm Mia's mother.
And what kind of girl is Mia?
She was a determined, courageous, outgoing young girl who dedicated all the time she had to playing soccer and her schoolwork.
How did Mia get into soccer?
She started playing soccer after my husband passed away.
And what did soccer do for Mia after that?
She loved to play soccer. It was her life. She always wanted to play in the pros. She was so thrilled to have made it on the Rubicon Soccer Club. Excuse me. She always wanted to watch soccer, and we went to college games every time we were able to.
Had Mia ever sustained a concussion?
She did. She sustained a concussion in May 2012 while playing for her school soccer club against Carthage High School.
Thank you. Your Honor, may I approach the bench?
You may.
I have provided what has been marked as Exhibit 5 to the opposing counsel, and ask that I'm giving a copy to the clerk and ask that I may show said exhibit to the witness.
You can approach the witness, please.
Ms. Perez, do you recognize this exhibit?
I do.
What is it?
It is the Rubicon Soccer medical waiver where I signed that Mia had suffered a mild concussion and in May of 2012 while playing for school soccer team.
And you filled this out?
I did.
And who did you give it to?
Objection, Your Honor, this has not been offered into evidence.
Well, I'll overrule it simply because he was asking who he gave it to, who she gave it to, excuse me.
Have you provided a copy to us?
You can repeat the question.
Who did you give this document to?
I gave this to Rubicon Soccer Club.
And Your Honor, we would like to enter this exhibit into evidence this time.
And is there any objection to Exhibit 5 being admitted into evidence?
No objection, Your Honor.
And Exhibit 5 will be received.
Ms. Perez, can you read what you wrote under unusual health information?
I wrote that Mia had suffered a mild concussion in May 2012 while playing for school soccer team.
Thank you. How was Mia acting the week of December 2nd?
I didn't really get to see Mia that much that week because I was really busy with work. I did see her for a few moments on Tuesday evening. She seemed quiet and stressed, but I assumed that she was very stressed from the tournament. I saw her again Thursday evening. She was still stressed, so I asked her what was going on. She looked at me and said she was going straight to bed. Friday morning, she slept through her alarm, which was very unusual. I asked her what was going on. She said that she had a lot of tests going on that week and she was stressed because of that.
And you went to the game on December 2nd, correct?
I did.
Can you describe what was going on when you got there?
When I arrived, the game had already started. The first thing I noticed was Mia wasn't running as hard as usual, so I assumed that she was getting sick after all.
And how was Mia hurt?
Defender rushed to her and she fell down. I waited for her to get up, but she never did. And that's when I ran out to the field along with her coaches.
Did Shannon Dempsey say anything to you after this happened?
He did. He told me that he was very
Objection, Your Honor,
sorry.
hearsay.
Your Honor, this is admission by a party opponent. Shannon Dempsey is the defendant.
No response.
I'll overrule the objection.
What did Shannon Dempsey tell you?
He told me that he was very sorry and he knew that Mia wasn't feeling well.
You went with Mia to the hospital, correct?
I did.
And what happened when you got there?
When we arrived, the doctors have informed us that Mia had suffered a concussion.
Since the concussion, how has Mia been?
Ever since the concussion, Mia's been stressed and quiet. She cannot concentrate and has trouble remembering things, so she cannot go back to school. She can only take one online class, and that's all she can handle. She won't be graduating with her class and definitely won't be playing soccer. She has serious migraines and is always, she's always having trouble remembering things.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Perez, you stated in your statement that Mia is crazy for soccer. An obsession?
She loved to play soccer.
And how old is Mia?
She's 16.
You've attended lots of Mia's games. You've seen the players get trapped, tripped, stumbled.
Yeah, I mean, she played soccer.
So you knew that soccer is a contact sport.
I did, and so did her coaches.
And you saw injuries often occur in soccer?
Yeah.
And so there was a chance of injury?
Of course, and there's a chance of injury in every sport.
How do you feel seeing Mia in her position?
What do you mean?
How do you feel seeing Mia how she is now?
Oh, it's
Objection,
terrible.
not leading question.
Excuse me?
It's a non-leading question.
But she can ask a non-leading question on cross. I'll overrule it.
You were supposed to, Dr. Mueller told you to come for a follow-up visit, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't go to the follow-up visit, nor Mia?
No, I didn't think it was necessary. She was doing fine.
Didn't Mia receive a mild concussion?
She did.
And so, yet you still didn't attend the follow-up visit?
No, the doctor told us that Mia needed a break from any mental or physical contact for a whole week, and she did that, and she was fine afterwards.
You knew that it was important to get medical treatment?
That's what we did.
And you knew that the follow-up treatment was important. What was the follow-up treatment that you got?
We didn't get any. She was fine afterwards when she went to visit doctor, so we didn't go back for a follow-up.
That is all.
Redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Does either side have any objection to Ms. Perez being excused?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Perez, you're excused. Plaintiff, call your next witness.
Your Honor, we would like to call Tobin O'Reilly to the stand, please.
Ms. O'Reilly?
Please be seated. Do you promise that the testimony you are about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform with the facts and rules of the Mars trial competition?
I do.
Please be seated and state your name to the court and spell your last name.
My name is Tobin O'Reilly, O''R''E''I''L''Y. Good afternoon, Ms. O'Reilly. Good afternoon. How are you related to this case?
Well, Mia was, she used to be
one of my soccer players, and I also had her as a student in my advanced personal fitness class.
Can you tell the court what you do for a living?
I work at Rowe High School where I teach a variety of different classes ranging from physical education to health classes. I also am a coach there for the boys and girls varsity and JV soccer teams.
And can you tell the court your qualifications?
Well, before working at Rowe High School, I went to the University of North Carolina where I majored in exercise and sports science with a minor in coaching techniques. Also for coaching specifically, I hold my national B-level license in coaching. This is a very rigorous course and requires a lot of dedication. This is their second highest level of, or second to their highest level of coaching degree. You can get anywhere from a D level to an A level. I'm also continually updating myself on the newest coaching techniques and the newest health and safety advisories.
Your Honor, we would like to offer Ms. Tobin O'Reilly as an expert witness in the field of coaching soccer.
Any objections?
No, your objection, Your Honor.
In your field of coaching expertise, what should a coach be responsible for?
Well, I've always said safety comes first, and player safety is something that we have to continually uphold, whether it's in soccer or in ice hockey. We need to make sure that our players can come back to play another game.
Do you know anyone who had a concussion while you were coaching soccer?
I do.
So what do you know about sport concussions?
I know a lot of things. Starting in 2009, Oregon Max's law was passed, and in order to kind of
Objection,
uphold
Your
this law.
Honor. How was Max's law relevant?
Any response?
Your Honor, Max's law is the standard of which the high school sport team should follow to the law, and Ms. Tobin O'Reilly was just about to explain what Max's law was.
You know, I'll overrule the objection for now.
So as I was saying, Max's law kind of requires us to have a safety guideline for re-entering our players after they've sustained a concussion. And these guidelines were something that I knew I needed to comply with. Obviously, they were there for our players' safety. Since then, I've implemented a variety of different coaching techniques that kind of have an emergency plan for what happens when a concussion occurs on the field. One of these is, in 2009, I became aware of the CDC's Center for Disease Control, their concussion awareness initiative. They provided a heads-up concussion awareness kit, and I was able to use that in my coaching. I was able to put posters up around our school and send home fact sheets about concussions to parents and their players. I also did minimal things like buying an application for my iPhone that I could ask questions to my players to see if I suspected they had a concussion and if those suspicions were true. And then also to comply with Oregon Max's law and to ensure the safety of our players, we introduced a set of procedures for what happens after a player has sustained a abrupt kind of disruption to their brain.
Objection, Your Honor, narrative.
Okay, I'll also stand. Did you ask another question?
So how do you use these knowledge during your coaching?
Well, as I said, we use these procedures in order to make sure that our coaches know what to do when their players have received or sustained a concussion. So I specifically use these procedures before I let a player go back into the game.
Has Mia ever had a concussion while you were coaching her?
She did in May of 2012.
Can you give details of what had happened?
Well, it was a regular season game that had been rescheduled because of rain. We were doing really great, as we always did, especially with Mia on our team. However, about 10 minutes into the half, Mia went up on a header, so she was trying to hit the ball that was in the air with her head, and she unfortunately collided with another player. She went down really fast, and she was slow to get back.
Objection, Your Honor, narrative.
It's also stating it's not responsible at this point.
So after her collision, her fall, what did you do?
Well, I knew immediately that I needed to take her off the field.
And so, did you let Mia go back in the game after collision?
No, she was begging me to go back in, but I knew that I needed to make sure she wasn't let back in because I suspected she had a concussion.
And how could you recognize that Mia might have had a concussion?
Well, she was showing symptoms of like haziness and dizziness, and through my readings and findings, I knew that those were symptoms of a concussion.
So did you see Mia the week before her collision on December 2nd?
I do. She's one of my students, so I saw her twice that week.
Did you observe her doing anything out of the ordinary?
Now that you mention it, definitely. During class on Tuesday, she wanted to sit out during our activity, which is very out of the ordinary for her. She was saying that she was stressed and feeling kind of sick. And then on Thursday, she said she wasn't feeling any better, so I gave her a pass to go and study in the library.
So do you know who the Rubicon director is?
Yes, that's Jordan Reddick.
And what is your relationship with the defendant, Jordan Reddick?
Well, Jordan and I applied.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
What's the relevance?
Your Honor, we're just trying to show that the directing difference between Jordan and Tobin O'Reilly, their priorities, and the priorities of which goes first.
Priorities of what?
Well, my witness was going to answer it in the following question, but...
Well, and the priorities of what? Are we talking about coaching?
The coaching, like what they expect from their players first.
Okay, then I'll allow the question.
I'm sorry, could you repeat it?
So, what is your relationship with the defendant, Jordan Reddick?
Well, we applied for the same position, and he ended up getting the position at Rubicon Soccer Club as the director. Since then, he's been a coach for their team as well, and I've seen him on multiple different occasions in the coaching area.
So did you ever observe anything that Mr. Reddick did out of the ordinary of his coaching style?
Well, a little bit. He seemed to be really into his game, and I could definitely tell that he was more interested in winning, just because when his team was losing by a few points, he would often, more than not, kick inanimate objects on the sidelines, like trash cans and garbage, and yell offensive words at opposition players.
Your Honor, we have no further questions for this witness.
Cross.
Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. O'Reilly, you applied for the club director position at Rubicon Soccer Club, didn't you?
I did.
But you didn't get hired, did you?
I didn't.
In fact, it was Jordan Reddick who got hired instead.
As we've already talked about.
And you were angry about this, weren't you?
I mean, momentarily.
You posted nasty comments on the internet just because you were mad.
Well, I don't know if I would call them nasty. I posted a few things because I had concerns and apprehensions about the way he was coaching.
You started noticing Mia's behavior change. She was listless, quiet, days off.
The week before the competition, yes.
And during a Zumba session, in your class, Mia asked you to sit out during class, correct?
Yeah, as I already talked about earlier.
And based on your academic standards, you noticed how she could have a mild concussion, how she could have a concussion?
That week?
No, like on how you noticed her behavior. You could see that she had a concussion, correct?
No, I didn't know that she had a concussion. I wasn't there when...
But you noticed the symptoms.
Yeah, certainly. She said that she was really tired and stressed out. I mean, she's a really advanced student.
But even by noticing her symptoms, you sent her to the library instead of sending her to the nurse?
I didn't think it was necessary. She told me over and over again
You just sent her to the library,
she was okay.
correct?
Yeah.
That's all.
Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. So, was Jordan Reddick's behavior something a coach should have done to their players?
I mean, in my opinion, certainly not. I think we should always uphold player safety and then always be respectful of those people.
Excuse me, objection, Your Honor, this is out of scope of my cross-examination.
I'll allow it.
So I never felt that was something that a coach should do, certainly not.
And do you know that Mia had major tests going that week that she had to study for?
Yeah, on Tuesday during our Zumba
Objection, Your Honor,
lesson.
this is out of the scope of my cross-examination.
I'll also stand out.
Okay, we have no further questions for this witness.
Recross.
Yes, Your Honor. You stated that you took some courses on how you could notice someone's symptoms, correct?
Yes, I have a lot of experience in concussion.
And did you notice when Mia told you she was tired when you asked her, did you notice how she was behaving? It could have been something more.
I mean, tiredness and haziness can often be attributed to stress, which that's what she told me it was, that she had a lot of classes going on.
Could you just answer my question?
She told me that she was stressed, so that's what I attributed it to.
That's all.
If there's no further questions for Ms. O'Reilly, is there any objection to Ms. O'Reilly being excused?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. O'Reilly, you can be excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Plaintiff, please call your next witness.
Plaintiff calls Dr. Beck registered to the stand.
Please raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you're about to give will faithfully and truthfully confront the facts and rules of the mock trial competition?
I do.
Please be seated and state your name to the court and spell your last name.
Bevan Register, R-E-G-I-S-T-E-R.
Good afternoon, Dr. Register. What do you do for a living?
I am the director of the Sports Medicine Concussion Research Center and a full professor at Rowe University.
Will you please describe your qualifications?
Certainly. I have a master's degree and PhD in sports medicine. I'm also a Metallic Marshall Distinguished Professor.
Your Honor, may I have permission to approach the bench?
You may.
I'm handing the clerk what has been marked as Exhibit 10. I have provided a copy to the opposing counsel. I request permission to show Exhibit 10 to witness Dr. Bevan Register.
You can approach the witness.
Could you please describe Exhibit 10 for the court?
This is my curriculum vitae.
Your Honor, we offer Exhibit 10 into evidence at this time. The authenticity of the exhibit has been stipulated.
Is there any objection to Exhibit 10?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, then Exhibit 10 will be received.
What is your experience with sports concussions?
Well, for the past 20 years, my research at the university has focused on diagnosis and treatment of sports concussions. And as you can see here, this is a subject on which I have published over 200 peer-reviewed journal articles.
Your Honor, we would like to enter Dr. Bevan Register as an expert in the field of sports medicine.
Is there any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Proceed.
What is a concussion?
A concussion is a type of mild traumatic brain injury caused by a blow or jolt to the head.
Will you please describe some of the symptoms of concussions?
Well, they're very wide-ranging, but generally physical symptoms include nausea, dizziness, sensitivity to light and noise, migraines, cognitive symptoms, confusion, dizziness, memory
Objection,
issues.
Your Honor. Being narrative.
Overruled.
As I was saying, memory issues, and then there are often sleep issues, mood swings, And in addition, having sustained a previous concussion can make you more susceptible to another.
What is your relationship to the victim, Mia Perez?
I saw Mia at the university's Concussion Research Center in February of 2013 after her concussion in December 2012. I conducted extensive tests as well as interviews with herself and her mother.
What did your test results conclude?
That Mia is suffering from post-concussive syndrome. This is a condition sustained most often after multiple concussions. It seems that in addition to her previous known concussion, Mia likely sustained one concussion during practice on Monday, November 26th, and 2 separate concussions during the game on December 2nd.
Do you think that Mia's past concussion affected her more previous one?
Absolutely.
In your expert opinion, what would have been the most appropriate course of action after the first blow to the head?
Well, after the first blow during the game, Mia should have been removed from play and evaluated by a medical professional.
Why is that important?
When blood flow to the head is low, as occurs after one concussion, a second one can be catastrophic.
What are the long-term ramifications of Mia's injury?
Well, Mia, as I said, is suffering from post-concussive syndrome. She has a sensitivity to light and noise, mood swings, intolerance to stress. She is depressed. She suffers from persistent migraines and headaches. She is unable to attend school or continue with her life or even be present in this courtroom today. And especially troubling, the fact that Mia's symptoms have persisted this long after her
Objection,
injury.
Your Honor. Narrative.
Could you ask another question? I'll also stand the objection. Could you ask a follow-up question?
No further questions?
No further questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Cross.
You stated that when athletes get injured, they have to rest completely, correct?
Yes.
Including schoolwork?
Yes, it's very important.
Did Mia do any of this?
She continued with school.
Do you agree that Mia should have somehow informed her coaches about her previous concussions verbally?
Well, I mean, that's a matter of opinion, but I suppose it would be important that they would somehow have known.
You stated that a player might try to shake off the concussion, correct?
Players can often be very ignorant about their injuries, yes.
They would even they would beg their coaches to get back, put it into the game, correct?
I don't believe I ever said that, but it does sometimes
In your
happen.
affidavit, you stated that, correct? Did Mia do anything of this?
No.
I believe so. She did.
I mean, she begged to be returned to play, but as I was not present on the day, I can't really testify to the events.
And by doing that, she put herself at risk, correct?
I mean, I'm more concerned with the medical ramifications of Mia's injury. As I said, I can't really testify to the events of the game.
You stated that we can't make athletes 100% safe, correct?
No.
You also stated that all sports carry some sort of degree, correct?
Yes.
Mia and Casey Perez should have been aware of these risks also, correct?
Yes, I suppose so.
And by signing those contracts with Rubicon Soccer Club and saying yes to going into the club, didn't Mia know didn't they both took the risks?
I'm not really qualified to speak to those documents.
They knew that by going in to say yes to going into that soccer club, they would take the risk of getting any type of injury, correct?
I suppose so, yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect.
No, Your Honor.
No redirect, there's no recross. Does either side have any objection to Dr. Register being excused?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Dr. Register, you're excused. You can step down. Does the plaintiff have any additional witnesses?
No, the plaintiff rests.
Plaintiff rests. Okay. Is the defense prepared to proceed by calling your first witness?
The defense calls Shannon Dempsey to the stand.
Shannon Dempsey? Mr. Dempsey, please come forward and be seated.
Please raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you're about to give will truthfully and faithfully conform to the facts and rules of the bond trial competition?
Yes.
Please be seated and state your name to the court and spell your last name.
My name is Shannon Dempsey, D-E-M-B-S-E-Y.
Good evening. Can you introduce yourself for the court, please?
Yes, I'm 35 years old. I've been coaching full-time for Rubicon since 2009.
Do you have an education to coach?
Yes, I do. I started coaching back when I was in college, and that's when I got my national D level license.
Now that you introduced the national license, what training do you have to go through to get your national license?
Like, what's it about?
Yeah, what do you do during your training?
We learn about soccer tactics and skills of players, and we also covered the care and prevention of sports injuries.
Did you talk anything about concussions?
We barely touched on concussions.
So moving back to your coaching, how many teams do you currently coach?
I currently coach 4 teams.
How many students do you coach at once?
About 45. What?
So, do you have any communication to have any bonding between the athletes and you?
No.
Do you coach Mia?
Yes.
Did she ever tell you verbally about her concussions?
No, she never did.
So, let's move on to the night after Thanksgiving. Do you remember anything about Monday after Thanksgiving?
Yes, that's when we had our regular practice with a scrimmage, and that's when Mia got injured.
What did you do after the concussion?
I made her, I had her sit out during the game.
Did you tell anything to Casey Perez?
I tried to.
Did anything else happen that week?
That week on Wednesday, she emailed me saying that she was going to miss practice, which was unusual because that would have been the very first time she would have missed the practice.
Let's transition to the day of the showcase. What happened that day?
That day, during the second half of the game, she collided with another player, and that's when she fell.
Did you do anything after that incident?
When I saw that she wasn't she didn't get back up, I was called over, and that's when she was taken to the hospital.
And did you do anything to contact Casey Perez?
Yeah, I called her, but she didn't answer, and it wasn't until about 3 hours later that she finally called me back.
And what did she tell you?
She told me that Mia had sustained a serious concussion, and that she was going to stay in the hospital overnight for observation.
If you knew anything about her first concussion, could you have done anything to prevent this?
I would have kept a closer eye on her, but I'm not sure what I would have done differently.
Could you have done something to, even though you didn't know about the previous concussion, could you have done something to prevent it?
I could have just kept a closer eye on her.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor.
Cross.
Mr. Dempsey, you've coached soccer for about 4 years, correct?
Yes,
And you recently began coaching girls soccer, right?
correct.
And you've done that for about 18 months, correct?
Correct.
You enjoy coaching girls soccer, don't you?
Yeah, correct.
And you also enjoy coaching boys soccer?
Correct.
In fact, isn't it true that you enjoy coaching boys soccer better than girls soccer?
Objection, Your Honor, irrelevant.
Your Honor, I'm getting there with this question.
Well, how's that relevant?
And if he, follow-up question, he wanted a boys team rather than a girls team. And by winning these games, he had a better chance of doing that.
I'll allow it.
It's true that you enjoy coaching boys more than girls.
Correct.
You know Jordan Reddick, correct?
Correct.
And you know him as the director of the Rubicon Soccer Club, right?
Correct.
And Jordan Reddick had taken notice of your team's success that season, right?
Correct.
And in fact, isn't it true that your girls had done so well that season that you thought you had a boys team waiting for you?
Objection, Your Honor, this is irrelevant. It doesn't show how this is leading to Mia's concussion, so it's irrelevant.
And what's your response? Because I think I understand where you're going with it, but could you tell me where you're...
Mia's on that soccer team, and by keeping her in the game, and she was a valuable player to that team, and by keeping her in the game, and he has a better chance of winning and impressing Jordan Reddick.
And I understand it to mean he's... the importance of Coach Dempsey of winning overrode the concerns within all of the objection.
And so you thought you had a boys team waiting for you, correct?
Correct.
And Mia Perez is a soccer player on your girls team, right?
Correct.
And you consider her a key player in that team, correct?
Yes.
And you expected your team to do well in that triad soccer tournament on December 2nd, right?
Yes.
In fact, Jordan Reddick said to you that putting a lot of goals on the board would make him happy, didn't he?
Correct.
And Your Honor, I'd like to recall Exhibit 5 from the clerk. Request to show Exhibit 2. Mr. Dempsey, did you ever view this document before December 2nd?
No.
And that is the required medical form?
Yes.
Correct. Can you read what's written under the list?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
What's your response?
This exhibit's already been entered into evidence, and its authenticity has already been stipulated.
It's already admitted into evidence, so that everybody's going to see it. All
Thank you.
Can you read what's listed under unusual health information?
Mild concussion in May 2012 while playing for school soccer team.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. You would have expected that if there was any type of injury that was needed to be mentioned, you would have expected for Mia or any of your other athletes to tell you verbally, correct?
Correct.
Did Mia do this?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Recross.
It's true, isn't it, though, that you never looked at that form which Mia's mother had specifically stated that she had had a previous concussion?
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
There are no further questions for Mr. Dempsey. Is there any objection to Mr. Dempsey being excused as a witness?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Mr. Dempsey, you're excused. Step down. Defense, please call your next witness.
The defense calls Jordan Reddick to the stand.
Ms. Reddick.
Can you please correct me? I promise that the testimony you are going to tell is faithfully and truly conforms to the facts and rules of the law you are practicing?
Yes.
Please proceed to consider in court and spell your life.
Jordan Reddick, R-E-D-D-I-C-K.
Morning, Jordan Reddick. Can you please give us a brief description of your education and job history?
I used to work at the Tribe Soccer Club as the director of the sport. I used to work at Tribe Soccer Club. I am currently working at the Republican Soccer Club as a director, and I have a bachelor's in sports administration.
And what kind of national license do you have?
I received a national C-level license.
And what certification courses did you use to get this?
I put all of my effort and all of my knowledge that I played since I played college. I received trainings for my B-level license that I applied to my coaching skills.
Your Honor, at this time, we'd like to qualify witness Jordan Reddick as an expert witness in soccer techniques and coaching.
Is there any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Proceed.
Since you've been manager, what kind of standards did you set for Rubicon Soccer Club?
I set high standards. I knew that it was capable of doing the best, and it had very good players.
So how has Rubicon changed under your leadership?
Under my leadership, we have excelled. We have over 2,000 players. Each team attends 3 tournaments and 1 state championship.
And what do you believe your club's success proves about the way Rubicon is ran?
I mean, overall, at the end of every season, we have a huge turnout in tryouts, and the parents of our players are very happy.
Can you describe you and Julian College's medical department's partnership?
Yeah. Julian College students come over and have hands-on training in our students. They teach them the right techniques to jump and run and ways to prevent injuries.
What types of health information do you provide on your website and promote to your players?
In our website, we provide eating before and eating well, staying healthy, injury prevention, well sleep before and after games. We provide these in our websites, and also the parents are able to see the website, so they know that we care.
And you're involved with, excuse me, ACL injury prevention, correct?
Yes.
And can you describe this involvement?
An ACL injury, that is one of our priorities. It's very important. If a player, well, first of all, the ACL is a ligament in the knee of a player's knee. If that ligament is to be broken, it can cause serious damage, and it can take up to 6 to 9 months in recovery.
And how many other soccer clubs in Oregon are involved with ACL injury prevention?
No other club.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance?
This shows that my client met the duty of care for injury prevention that they were being sued
But,
for.
but how does ACL is relevant to concussion?
This relates to the overall duty of care that my client had for injury prevention specifically.
I'll sustain the objection because the question was how many clubs in Oregon had ACL prevention program.
Thank you. And can you explain to us how that shows your care for injury prevention?
Can you repeat your question?
Can you explain to us how that shows your care for injury prevention?
Oh yeah, well I mean, it's one of the biggest things that happen to a player, so it's one of our priorities.
You saw Mia get injured, correct? And in what way did you follow up to ensure her health?
Well, right after she got injured and she was left to the hospital, I called her mom that afternoon, and her mom told me that she just had received a concussion.
And after she got a concussion, you researched about concussions, and what did you find in Dr. Don Comstock's studies?
I found out that for every 10,000 girls who play soccer throughout the U.S., only 8 sustained with a concussion. As you can see, that's a very small amount from 10,000 girls.
How are you familiar with heads-up concussion kits?
I'm not so familiar.
And how many other soccer clubs do you know of in Oregon that do this?
Only one soccer club in Oregon has the heads up condition.
We have shown that you have always tried to educate your players about good health, nutrition, and injury prevention. If you only cared about winning, you wouldn't have gone to all that trouble, correct?
No, we would.
No further questions.
Cross.
So the Rubicon Soccer Club team does not have any paid assistants or coach athletic trainers, correct?
Yes.
Is it true that the Julian College provides athletic trainers at club-hosted tournaments?
Yeah.
So the Julian College does not provide athletic trainers during regular practices, correct?
We're not able to afford them.
There isn't any information or links on the Rubicon website about concussions, right?
Well, they're not rare they're not rare. And since they're not rare, we didn't really know a lot about them at the time.
So is there any information on your website about sport concussions? You believe soccer concussion are not as serious as football-induced concussions, correct?
Correct. I mean, if they were, you would expect to hear them from them all the time.
The Rubicon Soccer Club was not educating their coaches about concussion before Mia's concussion, correct?
At the time we were.
You were at the Triad Soccer Club tournament back in November, correct?
Yeah.
Is it true that during the Triad Soccer Club tournament, you did not pick up the heads-up concussion kit, correct?
Correct.
You were at the College Showcase tournament in December when Mia was injured, correct?
Correct.
And you've seen Mia play during regular practices, correct?
Correct.
During the showcase, did Mia seem uncoordinated to you?
Yeah.
And you didn't tell this fact to anyone, correct?
The judges that were gonna give the scholarship also, I heard from them that they also in fact saw that Mia wasn't doing well. So I wasn't the only one.
So you didn't tell anybody about this fact, correct?
Because the other judges knew.
You saw Mia crashing her head onto the ground during the tournament, correct?
I did not see her crash her head. She bumped into another player, and that's when she collided and hit her head.
So did you see her falling down?
Yes, I did see her falling down.
And you didn't do anything after her fall, did you?
Well, it was all her mom as well as the coach were running together, and I didn't think I was necessary since they were there already.
Your Honor, we have no further questions for this witness.
Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. How many other soccer teams in Oregon are involved with heads-up concussion kits?
Out of Oregon, one.
And after you saw Mia's injury occur, in what way did you follow up to ensure her health?
I called her mom. I worried, and I called her mom, and she just told me that she had received a concussion. If I had not worried, I would not have called her mom at all.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Recross.
No, Your Honor.
If there's nothing further from Ms. Reddick, does either side to object to Ms. Reddick being excused?
No objection.
No objections.
Ms. Reddick, you can step down. Defense, please call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor, we called Chris Durant to the stand.
Ms. Durant, please come forward.
I do. My name is Chris Durant, D-U-R-A-N-T.
Hi, Ms. Durant. Can you please introduce yourself for the court?
Yes, my name is Chris Durant. I am 17 years old. I am currently a senior at Rowe High School, and I was really good friends with Mia, at least she got hurt.
Since when have you guys been friends?
Since middle school, we've been running track together. She would always say to talk about soccer. Personally, I'm into basketball, but I will listen to her just because she's one of my good friends.
Did you and Mia have any classes together?
Yes, we had AP pre-calculus, we had AP chemistry, AP physics class, and Zumba.
Do you and Mia hang out?
Yes, we hang out a lot. We go to the movies together. We go to the mall. We do a lot of bonding.
Let's move on. On the week before Mia's injury, what did you notice about Mia?
On the AP class, fitness class, she was really acting woozy. She was holding to her head a lot. She was just not the usual Mia that I know.
Then what happened while you guys were in your Zumba class?
I asked her if anything was wrong with her, and she just said that she had a really bad headache, and she asked me for ibuprofen.
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, this is an admission by a party opponent.
Okay, I'll overrule the objection.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Then what happened when you and Mia were in your Zumba class?
Well, I asked her if anything was wrong, because I asked her before during AP class, and she said that nothing was wrong. And on the Zumba class, I asked her again. She said that she had a headache, and so I gave her ibuprofen.
How was Mia feeling afterwards after walking to your AP chemistry class?
She was still acting very dizzy, confused. I asked her if anything was wrong again, and she told me that she was receiving the same symptoms that she did when she got her first concussion. I asked her, have you told anybody? She said, no, are you kidding? She looked at me like if I was crazy, and then she said, if I tell anybody, I won't be able to play in the showcase game.
So then no one knew about Mia's concussion but you and her, right?
No, yeah, nobody else, because she made me promise, and I, as a good friend, I broke the big promise, which I really regret doing.
How did you see Mia that same week on Friday?
She was still woozy. She was not into it. She was really just not the usual Mia that I know, as I said before.
On your way out of class, did she say anything to you?
Yes, we were getting out of our AP chemistry, and, well, I tried to talk to her, and she said, she just kind of yelled at me. You promised to not tell anybody, and she just told off.
Do you think you should have done something about it?
I should have, but as a good friend of her, I thought that I would lose the friendship, and I was kind of scared of losing the friendship. So I just rather not tell anybody, but she should have told somebody.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross.
You were pretty close, weren't you?
Can you elaborate on your question?
You and Mia were close friends?
Oh, yes, we were really close friends.
And she's confided in you about Rubicon, hasn't she?
Yes, she has.
Mia seemed pressured about the tournament, correct?
Well, yeah, but it was a really great chance for her, so I would have been pressured about it also.
Now, you said Mia wasn't acting herself the week before the tournament, correct?
Yeah, she wasn't acting herself.
It was a noticeable change, wasn't it?
It kind of was, but it kind of was.
Enough so that you asked her what was wrong, correct?
Yeah.
Multiple times.
I asked her, yes.
And later that week you observed her feeling groggy, correct?
Mm-hmm.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor.
How long have you and Mia been friends?
Since middle school. It's been like around 7 years.
Objection, asked and answered.
Yeah, sustained.
Okay.
Thank you.
Since you said in your direct, she made you promise. Since you said on direct, she made you promise to hide her concussion from everyone. Is there any doubt in your mind that Mia was hiding her concussion from
Objection.
her coaches?
Asked and answered.
Let her finish the question, please.
Since you said on direct, she made you promise that she hide her concussion from everyone. Is there any doubt in your mind that Mia was hiding her symptoms from her coaches?
Yes, and well, she was, if I could have promised, I think, well, first of all, she should have never reported Shannon Dempsey, because how were they supposed to notice that if she was like, telling anybody other than me?
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Recross.
No, Your Honor.
Does the other side object to Ms. Durant being excused?
No objections, Your Honor.
Does the defense have any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor, the defense now rests.
Is the plaintiff prepared to proceed with a closing argument?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Your Honor, opposing counsel, and members of the jury. We have heard the tragic story of Mia Perez. Who is at fault for these devastating damages of Mia Perez? Mia Perez was a hard-working student. She took multiple advanced classes, and she loved to play soccer. However, because Mia Perez had multiple concussions, she is no longer able to attend school, graduate high school with her friends, play soccer, or have the life she used to have. And this is all because of the irresponsible coaches that did not take their duty seriously. That led to Mia Perez's life change. Today, we have to prove to you, first, the defendant had a duty to Mia Perez. The defendants, Shannon Dempsey and Jordan Reddick, already admitted that they had a duty of care toward Mia Perez. Second, the defendant breached the duty. Members of the jury, the defendant did not fulfill their duty of care toward Mia Perez. Did the defendant educate their players, parents about symptoms or possible concussions? Any reasonable coach, soccer coach, just like Coach Tobin O'Reilly, would have educated their players and parents about concussions and being safe about it, but they didn't. Did the defendant talk about unreasonable harm or long-term complications resulting from repeated concussions? No, they did not. The defendant, Jordan Reddick, testified that before Mia Perez's concussion, the Rubicon Soccer Club never educated their coaches about concussion before Mia's concussion, nor talked about concussion whatsoever. Today, Tobin O'Reilly proved that the duty of a coach is to be responsible for their players' safety. Members of the jury, Mia Perez had a concussion under Tobin O'Reilly's supervision, and she recovered. Tobin O'Reilly took the necessary precautionary measures, made sure that she was educated about concussion, and gave information to the player's family so they were educated as well. Casey Perez, Mia's mother, told that she had wrote on the medical waiver that Mia Perez had a previous concussion. Any reasonable coach would have looked over the waiver to take care of their players, but the Rubicon coaches did not. The Rubicon soccer team cared more about winning the game than protecting their players' safety. Third, the defendant caused Mia Perez to have these damages. Today, Dr. Bevan Register had told us that Mia Perez is suffering from her concussions. Mia Perez is now impossible to attend school. She can barely handle one online class. She has continuous headaches, her mood swings, she shows depression, and she is sensitive to light and noise. And the sad thing is, she will continue to suffer significant physical and cognitive problems for the rest of her life. 4, Mia Perez is suffering from damages because of the negligence of the defendant. Dr. Bevan Register said that sometimes players deliberately try to hide their injuries from their coaches. However, it's important that the coaches should be alert of these symptoms. If the coach had recognized Mia's symptom and removed her from the game after the first concussion during the college showcase tournament on December 2nd, Mia would certainly receive more appropriate and timely care, greatly increasing her chance of a full recovery. The co-captain came to check on Mia during the college showcase. However, Coach Shannon Dempsey did not seem to care, so she did not pull Mia out of the game. If the defendant was more cautious and cared more about their players' health than just winning a game, Mia would not have become like this. Remember, members of the jury, Mia is a young woman. Mia is not an adult. She's a teenager. Yes, of course she has personal responsibility of her own body. Though, when a child is begging to go back in a game, the adult is the one who should make the right decision. Defendants are adults. They are professionally trained coaches. They knew what the right thing was to do, and they did not do it. As a coach, they had a responsibility of their players' safety. Please, members of the jury, imagine if your child was in the same situation as Mia Perez. Futures and dreams all gone. Whose responsibility is this to blame? A young teenage child or adult who is professionally trained? As you see today, Mia Perez is in a hard situation. She could not even come to court. We ask the members of the jury to find the defendant negligent for Mia's life-changing damages. Thank you.
Defense?
Thank you, please, the court, opposing counsel, members of the jury. My name is Valeria Jacome, as you all know, and it is my honor to do the closing argument for the defendant. On behalf of my clients, I want to thank you for your jury's service as jurors. It is very unexpected, but not rare, to get hurt during soccer practice. I've gotten hurt, and maybe you have to, or not in soccer, but in another physical sport, or you know someone who has, a daughter, son, a coworker, or a friend. As you know, the defendant feels sorry for what happened to Mia and her mother. The evidence clearly shows that my clients are not at fault for the injuries that Mia has suffered. What the evidence does show is that soccer is a game. It's a sport, and the cause of those injuries is the sport itself, not the soccer coach, and not the soccer club or the soccer coach. Unconsciously, Mia's negligence and participation what was caused her injuries. Unfortunately, individuals choose to blame others for their mistakes instead of accepting the responsibility of their own mistakes. To begin, first, Mia suffered the head injury playing in her school team. Dr. Mueller diagnosed the concussion. He recommended rest and no tremendous mental activities for a week. Dr. Mueller clearly instructed Mia to return back for a follow-up visit. However, Mrs. Perez ignored Dr. Mueller's advice, and Mia did not return for that follow-up visit or for a further examination. That was a negligent act of their part. What would have happened if Mia had returned? What would have Dr. Mueller diagnosed? Second, the physical contact that Mia experienced in practice and just 2 games was unusual and cannot be anticipated by my clients. Third, I want to recall the testimony of Mia's dearly friend, Chris Durant. As hard it is for Chris to testify in a trial on the opposite side of his good friend Mia, he knows it was the right thing to do. Chris Durant's testimony stated that Mia knew that she was suffering alike symptoms like her first concussion. When Chris worried like a dearly friend, he asked Mia whether she had told her mother or the coach if she had hit her head. What did Mia reply? This is what she replied. Are you kidding? If I did, they wouldn't let me play in the showcase. I have to play. It's my big chance. You know I can't afford college with a scholarship. Promise me you won't tell anyone about this. I mean it. Promise me you won't tell anyone. Not anyone. Chris tried to help. But what did she do? She just glared at Mrs. Chris. As Chris mentions, it does not seem fair to hold Coach Dempsey or the soccer club responsible for Mia's actions. What happened to Mia is rare, and it seems like a freak accident. Mia risked her own life, her health, for money that would give her the scholarship to go attend college. The future she wanted will no longer be able to become what she wanted to be, a big star. She'd hid her symptoms from her parents, and who would expect Coach Dempsey or Jordan Reddick to know? As you heard, Jordan Reddick found out the concussion by her mom, after he worried and called her mom. The reality is that Mia and her mother have not carried the burden of proof. At best, we can all say is that Mia and her mother were both equally at fault. And that being, you must conclude that their case has failed. And return a verdict in favor of my clients. Thank you again in favor of my clients. Thank you again for your jury service.
The plaintiff have any rebuttal or time remaining for rebuttal?
They have 55 seconds.
Yes, I would like to rebuttal. Members of the jury, the defendant said that Mia was so into the showcase and that she didn't tell anyone about her feelings about how she felt like she had a concussion. However, this showcase was important to Mia's life. Mia is a girl with a dream. She wanted to get this scholarship so she could go to college. So saying that she didn't tell this anyone so this showcase was just so important to Mia that she just couldn't let it go. And if you could understand her, please, I wish you could find the defendant negligent for Mia's life-changing damages. Thank you.